Well, boys, it's time to finally rank every single world in Wizard 101. How are we feeling?
I loved playing this game growing up, and I still love it now. Let's get it going, boys.
First up, we have Wizard City, an absolutely iconic world with so many memorable characters. I think it belongs in A tier.
Barry, I'm going to have to agree with you here. It's a very vibrant world. The Commons is the most iconic place in the game, and pretty much every important aspect of the game is in this shit.
Not gonna lie, guys. I think Wizard City is pretty mid. The paywall used to always piss me off back in the day. Plus, Cyclops Lane is terrible. C tier for me.
Of course, Sleepy Joe is already coming in hot with the delusional takes. Did you forget to take your medicine, Joe? Barack, go ahead and drop it in A tier like you drop bombs on funerals.
Fuck off, Donnie. Anyways, moving on to Crocotopia. This world is a bit of a mixed bag for me. The main quest line is pretty boring, but the side quests are absolutely incredible. Not to mention House of Scales. I'd say C tier.
Are you kidding me, Obama? Crocotopia is a top 3 world in the entire game. Easy S tier.
Calm down, Orange County. I agree with my former colleague on this one. Crocotopia is pretty mid.
I hate to agree with the Democrats here, but I have no choice. Crocotopia is mid. Get over it, Trump. C tier it is.
You guys suck. Anyways, it's time for Marleybone, the best world in the entire game. The atmosphere of Victorian England is incredible, and Sherlock Bones is an absolute Chad. S tier once again.
Don, you're absolutely spitting. I love Marleybone. Big Ben is a phenomenal final dungeon. Truly a W world.
I had to get Jill to do the Ironworks puzzle for me. That shit was way too complicated to understand. F tier.
Joe, just because you're borderline geriatric and your wife has to do everything for you doesn't mean that Marleybone is a bad world. It's absolutely peak. It's going in S tier.
Obama, you really don't have much room to talk about wives. Michelle is built like prime Mike Tyson. Anyways, we got Wisteria up next. I've played this world maybe like twice. There's no substance to it. You get no spells from the other schools, and there's no reward to doing this irrelevant ass world. D tier at best.
George, you're a moron. I've played through Wisteria 13 times. I love it so much. The little trees in Tanglewood Way are so cool.
There are so many things wrong with what you just said, Sleepy Joe. Firstly, I'm surprised you can even count all the way up to 13. Speaking of 13, Wisteria is my 13th reason why. F tier world.
13 times, Joe? That's some Duncan Iron type shit. I agree with Donnie. This shit is garbage. Let's all meet in the middle at D tier.
Well, boys, moving on to Grizzleheim and Wintertusk. I personally would like this world if the Grizzleheim portion actually gave you XP. Ravenscar is so fucking ass. D tier.
Tangerine Man, you need to shut the hell up. Kind of reminds me of the time you paid Stormy Daniels to do the same thing. Grizzleheim is an S-tier world.
Joe coming in with an uppercut like he's Gervonta Davis. I got to agree with you, though. S-tier world.
I like the bipartisanship we got going on here, George. S-tier for me as well.
Now, I know we have our disagreements, but I think we can all agree that Aquila is perfection. Zeus is so fucking cool.
Calm down, Joe. Aquila is decent, but I can't put it any higher than B tier. What you thinking, George?
Barry, I got to agree with you. B tier for me as well. You couldn't pay me enough money to farm Mount Olympus for Zeus gear. Let's not forget that the other 2 dungeons are useless as well, besides the secret bosses. Visually speaking, it's incredible, though.
Joe, I never thought I'd see the day. I actually agree with you for once. Aquila is cool as fuck. S tier for me, but I suppose we can meet in the middle, fellas.
Do we even have to discuss this, guys? Mushu is absolutely terrible. I would rather run King Detritus 1,000 times than have to go through this world once. It's so bad.
Jesus Christ, Obama. I hate Mushu a lot, but King Det 1,000 times is crazy as shit. I got to agree, though. Jade Oni is so disappointing and so forgettable. I hear there's a guy out there that farmed the rematch 1,000,000 times to get some measly Azoth. F tier.
You know what's not forgettable, though, Georgie? You absolutely shitting the bed handling Hurricane Katrina. Mushu is the worst world in the first arc, though. All it is dirt.
Need me to remind you of how you handled COVID-19, Don? But yeah, I gotta agree. Mushu is fucked.
Fuck you, Sleepy. Anyways, gentlemen, we have reached the end of the first arc. I personally really like Dragonspire, but I do think it has many flaws. B tier for me.
I hate Dragonspire. The Draconians scare the shit out of me. I cry to Jill every time I play this world. F tier.
Joe, you are such a whiny bitch baby. I think Dragonspire is pretty mid. It can't go any higher than C tier for me.
I personally think Dragonspire is S tier, but since we all have such differing opinions, I say we put it in C tier and move on to Arc 2.
Since I know for a fact that we all feel the same way about Celestia, I'm going to let Donnie explain this one for us.
I appreciate that, Obama. Where do I even begin with this utter piece of canine feces? For starters, the main quest is such a fucking drag. If I have to go talk to the archivist one more goddamn time, I'm going to pull a George Bush and knock down a couple towers. If anyone out there truly enjoys doing Storm Riven, you have a mental illness and need to be eradicated. Don't even get me started on the side quests. If I wanted to catch 12 piss ants for the same quest, I would join Dude, perfect for Shark Fishing Battle 2, F tier.
I plead the fifth in regards to those towers, Donnie. Moving on to Zafaria, I personally think it's D tier. It doesn't add much to the game, especially after the travesty that is Celestia.
Zafaria's trash, F tier all the way around. I enjoy literally nothing about this world.
Obama, isn't that kind of ironic considering, you know what? Never mind. Personally, I love Zafaria. I know a certain person who, by the way, loves the School of Fire that is absolutely goated, and they like Zafaria too.
I'm not going to lie, I'll be fucking with Zafaria. That shit is S tier on God on God.
I guess we can throw it in C tier then. On to Avalon. I personally think it's a great change of pace from the previous two worlds and the only truly great world in the entire second arc. Gotta be A tier for me.
I'd say B tier. Just kind of does its thing. I don't hate it, but I don't love it.
You might not love Avalon, but you sure like starting random wars in the Middle East to get some of that precious oil? I think Avalon is B tier all the same, though. What say you, Robinette?
I don't know. I forgot what Avalon is. B tier is cool, I guess.
Jesus Christ, Sleepy. We need to get you out of office and into hospice ASAP. As for Azteca, this world puts me in a hospice every time I'm forced to play it. Clear F tier.
I really like Azteca. The dinosaurs are so cute. I want to cuddle them. S tier.
Joe, I can't believe I chose you as my running mate. The only reason you like Azteca is because the dinosaurs remind you of your childhood, you prehistoric fuck. Azteca is so bad. 200 quests of absolute fuckery. F tier.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to say it's D tier. It doesn't bother me as much as it does most people, but it's still bad.
Lands at D, what would you know about landings, Pilot Bush? As for Chrysalis, this shit puts me to sleep every time. D tier.
Joe, you geezer, putting you to sleep isn't exactly a monstrous task. On the contrary, I think Chrysalis is overhated. Sure, it's long, but the story and characters are incredible, not to mention the music, and you get to flex Darkmoor gear as a reward. B tier.
I personally don't like Chrysalis. It's better than Azteca, but that isn't saying much. D tier.
Looks like once again I'm going to have to be the mediator. I'm going to agree with the Big Don on this one and say B tier. Averaging out to C tier is something I'm fine with.
Well, gentlemen, we have reached the third arc, which starts with an absolutely spectacular world. Polaris is short and to the point, gives you a ton of XP, and is overall very fun. S tier for me.
Obama, I know we've had our differences, but I got to say what you're saying is actually not cap for once. Polaris is wicked, huge, the greatest, incredible, tremendous, S tier.
Polaris is such a relief. You finally have your Darkmoor gear, your shadow spells, and you get to go to the Arcanum for the first time. I mean, what's not to love about this world? S tier for me as well, boys.
Not gonna lie, I have to agree. Polaris reminds me of the time I had corn pop with my chocolate chip ice cream at the pool with the hairs sticking up on my legs.
Ignoring Joe's episode, I gotta say I love Mirage. There's something about the environment, the atmosphere, and for some reason I've always wanted to explore under the ground in that world. S tier for me.
I think I have a sneaking suspicion as to why the underground of Mirage is so appealing to you, Georgie. Either way, I think Mirage is pretty solid. B tier for me.
Mirage is cool. I like the camels. B tier is chill with your boy Joe Rizzy Rizzle Biden.
You're all so wrong. Bush, you fucking oil whore. The only reason you like Mirage is because it reminds you of the innocent American lives lost during your pointless plunders. Followed up by Obama's liberal ass only enjoying the world because it gives him nostalgia of the numerous drone strikes he authorized on civilians. And need I remind you of your Afghan withdrawal, Joe? Mirage is F tier. I fucking hate this godforsaken world. San Diego and his decrepit ass can go fuck himself. Kind of reminds me of you, Joe. Anyways, I'll settle for C tier as an average, but nothing higher. I'm going to go ahead and start us off on Imperia as well, since you dumbasses are busy gawking over the Middle East. Part 1 is pretty mid, but Part 2 is absolutely spectacular. Overall, I'd say B tier.
It's not like you did anything to fix the situation out there, Trump. But go off, Queen. I think Imperia is an A-tier world. The quest where you fight evil Ambrose is so fucking exciting.
Yeah, I think Imperia does a great job at capping off an incredible arc. I'd say A tier as well.
I agree with Obama. This world is wicked.
Moving on to Arc 4, I think it starts off terribly with Caramel. This world has so many annoying fights. The NPCs are unbearable, and the aesthetic is way too much. D tier.
No. Caramel is the best world ever. Nana is so fine. I wish I could wife her. Wait, no, I'm sorry. Jill, I didn't mean it.
I'm just going to ignore whatever the fuck just happened with Frankenstein over there. I personally can't stand Caramel. It honestly may be worse than Celestia. If I have to hear Welcome All to Caramel one more time, I'm going to fucking kill myself. F tier.
Yeah, this world has literally no redeeming qualities. Probably the easiest F tier on the entire list.
Lemuria is forgettable. It's definitely not as bad as Caramel, but it's still not great. C tier at best.
I personally think Lemuria is S tier. Sky City is dope as shit.
I mean, I think Lemuria is C tier if I'm being generous. It's really bland in my opinion.
I'd say it's A tier, but let's settle at B tier and move on to the final world.
Novus is actually incredible. Visually speaking, this is probably the best world in the entire game. And it adds so much to the fourth arc. Can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah, I have to agree with Biden here. Novus is really different. S tier for me.
No arguments from me, boys.
I gotta say, it's been an absolute pleasure to do this tier list. I agree with S tier. We skipped Catacombs because it's literally just Wizard City. And since Novus isn't on the list, we're just gonna use the 4 dungeons bullshit to portray it. By the way, the best school is death. Believe me,